That answer is appropriate. That answer is appropriate. Those sentences are appropriate. Those sentences are appropriate. This behavior is appropriate. This behavior is appropriate. That is much more appropriate. That is much more appropriate. You should take the appropriate measures at the appropriate time. You should take the appropriate measures at the appropriate time. The price is not appropriate for the contents. The price is not appropriate for the contents. That is not appropriate for transport. That is not appropriate for transport. This expression was not appropriate. This expression was not appropriate. Is that appropriate for the modern age? Is that appropriate for the modern age? I believe that decision was appropriate. I believe that decision was appropriate. You should say something appropriate. You should say something appropriate. This expression is inappropriate for this occasion. This expression is inappropriate for this occasion. This showy dress isn't appropriate for me. This showy dress isn't appropriate for me. Take the appropriate amount of dosage. Take the appropriate amount of dosage. What would make an appropriate gift? What would make an appropriate gift? Do you have the appropriate licensing? Do you have the appropriate licensing? We can't necessarily say that example is appropriate. We can't necessarily say that example is appropriate. I don't know the appropriate expression. I don't know the appropriate expression. I don't have the appropriate English ability for the job. I don't have the appropriate English ability for the job. Which one do you think is the most appropriate? Which one do you think is the most appropriate? The theme of that meeting is appropriate for him. The theme of that meeting is appropriate for him. Write your answer in the appropriate place. Write your answer in the appropriate place. His story wasn't appropriate for the occasion. His story wasn't appropriate for the occasion. He made a speech highly appropriate to the occasion. He made a speech highly appropriate to the occasion. That was not at all an appropriate remark. That was not at all an appropriate remark. This dress is more appropriate for the party. This dress is more appropriate for the party. What sort of person is appropriate for this job? What sort of person is appropriate for this job? We took a strong and appropriate action. We took a strong and appropriate action. What ages is this game appropriate for? What ages is this game appropriate for? He appropriated the company's money. He appropriated the company's money. The fund is appropriated to charitable purposes. The fund is appropriated to charitable purposes. This amount has been appropriated for the budget. This amount has been appropriated for the budget. This room has been appropriated to reading. This room has been appropriated to reading. The fund is appropriated for the new building. The fund is appropriated for the new building. The money was appropriated for building the gymnasium. The money was appropriated for building the gymnasium. The accountant appropriated the firm's money for his own use. The accountant appropriated the firm's money for his own use. A considerable amount of money was appropriated for the national defense. A considerable amount of money was appropriated for the national defense.